if I can reconfigure what I was thinking in slightly different manner so that it gives you a slightly different perspective. But first of all, being here indeed an honor because Dr. Balachandran, to obviously leading stalwarts in their own areas. It's always a pleasure to be with them. It's always inspirational to be with them. And therefore, whatever I say, I guess it's going to be a little, a subject of scrutiny, I guess, in that sense. But I think, let me see if I can configure what I want to say in a slightly different manner. I think this is a fantastic confluence of three things that's happening. Experience, education, engagement. It's a phenomenal confluence. And I see stalwarts like Dr. Narayan, stalwarts like Dr. Balachandran, sorry, and Dr. Krishnaswamy and Dr. Vaidyanathan. It's terrific. I mean, it's the experience that they have, the experience that Dr. Narayan has, and the experience some of you have, I guess, and the experience that I have. And this confluence is a phenomenal way of getting it all together. Let me see if I can, expand on each one of those components and give you a flavor of what I've experienced in the past and what I'm experiencing, and potentially what I'll experience in the future, I guess. Let me take experience. Now, most of us, at least my career started off as a programmer a couple of decades ago. And what did we do? Most often than not, you get a piece of paper, say, this is a specification that you want to, and this is the program that you have to develop. So you religiously go into a computer room, type away on a keyboard. In those days, maybe a bunch of punch cards. Give it off to a computer center, process it, chuck back a report to you saying, this is your compilation report, a bunch of errors there. So you go back and redo the whole thing and then till you get a error-free compilation and then say, here's the program, and this is what it's going to produce. But how many of us did understand why we wrote those programs? Not many. Because we wrote a program and somebody said, write this program, so we wrote the program. What did it contribute technically, technologically, business-wise? I don't think we had any idea what the errors was in those days. Look at it from there, and we went on to areas where we said, the programming is becoming different, it's becoming interactive, it's becoming tools-oriented and all of that stuff. And then you said, I'm writing this program to make my inventory control better. Then we started moving away from why did I write this program to why am I writing it now? And what is it going to do for you in the future, kind of thing, right? So your experience moved from that scale and moved very rapidly because the way the technology moved from those days to what it was, let's say, 10 years ago, at the start of the e-commerce .com area, and then now having a more interactive, collaborative way of working. So that experience is kind of it's moved. The spectrum has moved so much that you really have to re-engineer yourself at every step of the way. That's why the education came into place. Now, how do you educate yourself? You get educated in terms of going to a college and getting a degree in engineering or computer science or EEE or whatever it is. Then you say, I'll do certifications in, let's say, program management, project management, PMI, etc., etc. Then you start getting experience in, let's say, advanced tools and all that stuff. So experience and education started merging in a way because you have to rapidly reskill yourself, unlearn and relearn a lot of things to be able to understand why that experience is being used. So you had a confluence of experience and you had a confluence of education that was happening. But what happened after that? Engagement. How did this all change into the way you engage with your business, engage with your customers, engage with the consumers and all of that, right? And fundamentally, when you started off your career, when I started my career, my engagement was my project manager. The project manager, and then project manager segment of the delivery manager got to a business leader and whatever else. All that's changed. This confluence of experience, education, and engagement has changed so much that every day there is a paradigm shift. Every hour there's a paradigm shift. I'm sure, and when you get into this course of great days, that confluence of experience, education, and engagement is really going to be the bulwark of what you're going to do. Purely from an analytics, the way things are going from analytics, business intelligence perspective. Now, what did we do? I think Sundar talked about the hindsight, discovery, predictive and prescriptive analytics. Lakshmanan gave a lot of very valuable thoughts in terms of how things are changing in terms of the processes. Right now, most of us, at least when I started my career and where I am today, there's been a phenomenal change in the way I thought about the way I dealt with business problems. Now I know I deal with the business problem because the behavior of the business has changed. It's changed rapidly, it's changed dramatically, it's changed because the mindsets have changed. It's changed because the people who are consuming information has changed. I'll give you a very quick example. I became a Facebook, I got into Facebook for a year and a half ago. My daughter got into Facebook about 3 years ago. And her interaction with mine is always on Facebook. Right? And then there's another example I had when I was traveling with the train the other day. There are 2 seats facing each other. And there's I think a 10-year-old sitting there and a 14-year-old sitting here. Both of them looking at their smartphones. I will never call mobile phone really a mobile phone anymore. The smart tools that they had, smart tablets that they had. And they were laughing, and they're not looking at each other laughing. They're looking at that and laughing away the glory. And I was wondering why they're laughing at that. And they're not looking at each other, but they're laughing. And they seem to be understanding and they seem to be communicating. A little later, I found that the little girl left the iPhone next to her, and I just glanced at it, and there's a joke that was going on with it too. And then sharing it with multiple other people who were laughing at it. Look at the way the interaction is changing, right? How many of us talk to each other nowadays? It's either Skype, it's either WhatsApp, or it's Facebook, tweet, whatever else. The act of engagement is completely changing. The way people are engaging with each other is changing. And at that level, if it changes that much, imagine what happens at a business level. Right? And the interaction between the IT and the business has changed. Invariably, if you look at it, the engagement between a business requirement and the IT ability used to be, here's my requirement, business guys say something, IT guys understand something, we create something, and more often than not it says, no, it doesn't fit into my needs. That's when you start fighting each other. You didn't say that, I didn't say that kind of thing, right? But the confluence is again happening, and we are at the stage where the ionization, that's what Narayan is saying, the spark, and therefore the ignition of those ideas are changing, and therefore we come to a stage where crossroads is a reality. It's a reality because the way we're dealing with each other is completely different. There's no longer, if you look at a consultant hat, you no longer go and say, yes, here's my business problem, so therefore let me write a business requirement for it, write a business requirement, get a sign off, translate it into a technology requirement, and get it programmed. There's no longer that. It's almost interactive. It's definitely collaborative. It's definitely interactive. And the paradigms have changed so much. So in the context of all the paradigm change, what is it that we need to, what are the events that are happening to make the paradigms change happen in a rapid manner? If I put it in three or four layers, you look at the data, you look at the way data is extracted and abstracted, the way you apply tools on top of it, and the way you visualize the information for perception. More often than not, when in the earlier days, we said data, we said, okay, let me write a program, write a Microsoft SQL program, which will go to an Oracle database, pick it up, and it will create a table. From there, you do whatever you want. Some kind of engineering that you used to do. And more often than not, the quality, governance, etc., was kind of dictated by the way you implemented the database. Preparation, integrity, data integrity, etc. That's gone. It's completely gone. We come to a stage where data governance, the cleanliness, the authenticity, all of that is completely different from what we used to do. And in the context of big data, you have variety, velocity, whatever else you want to call it, multiple of these coming to play. So all of that getting generated in a manner that, and when the data moves from one end to the other end, from an engineering perspective, you do a certain set of activities. But that's there. It's going to be there, I guess. But what you do with the data after that, what kind of logic do you apply, what kind of inference do you draw from it, how do you abstract it, what kind of tools do you apply on top of it to make that data turn into information, is a different story today, completely different story today. And it's no longer information that's important, it's what you make of the information that is important. There's the actionable intelligence, making meaning of the data, etc. Example again, these two children talking to each other on Facebook. There's tons of data flowing into the sitting opposite each other. And what are you making of the data? One is happy, the other is not happy. The third one says, oh, therefore it's a joker kind of thing, right? So it's the kind of thing that's happening. The way you're dealing with data is completely different from what it was a couple of years ago. So the context of big data, the context of bring your own data, a lot of people talk about new terms about it. And I think there's this thing happening, bring your own data. they call it small data. Right? A little thing that's in bucket somewhere and says process data in unit. It's changed, isn't it? I mean, the entire way looking at information, translated information, meaning to intelligence and intelligence to decision making, is changed. So in the context of what we do for the data and the abstraction, this is a completely different story today. It's no longer about SQLs, NoSQLs, or what language Hadoop. They're all there. It's going to be there. It's going to exist for as long as the thing's going to be. And by the way, I'm sorry, I'm going to say I'm sorry to Microsoft. It's the first time in my working day that I'm not using a Microsoft tool. So it's fine. I just want to know it's okay. So sorry, Microsoft. But then, whatever I'm saying is probably some amount of data won't be not liking Microsoft is happening. Code here is the way. And I'm generating some kind of value in the information about me, not using Microsoft. So looking at it, you look at abstraction of data. More often than not, when you say data, you'll always almost instantaneously say, okay, let me write a little program to extract the data from it. That's fine, you will always be extracting data. But when you mean abstracting data, what do you mean by that? You're making, you apply some algorithms, mechanisms to make sure that the data you extract from wherever it is, and making it ready for translation into information is what you're doing at that point in time. And when you apply that abstraction, you start applying tools on top of it, statistical tools, mathematical tools, whatever you want to call it, and then creating information out of it, and then you start abstracting it on the top, so that when you consume that information, you make meaning of it. That's the way it's changing. That's the paradigm that's happening. That's why this conference on experience, education, and engagement is redefining the way we will collaborate, we will interact, etc. So when you go to the industry, and typically you would have said, with the kind of specs, the way you interact with customers today is no longer technology-driven, technical-driven activity. It's understanding why is the problem, and why is the problem existing. What is it that I can do to solve the problem by using technology, not by saying I'll write a program and therefore maybe it'll apply this problem. So the confluence between the business problem and the technical ability to solve the problem is where we are today. That's what Larry was talking about in terms of the crossroads. We ignited that, and I think as Cognizant, as an organization, I think we're leading that in a manner that it really defines the paradigm. Once you're there, it's the way you interact, the way you consume information, the way you behave when you consume information is where the influence happens. When I say consuming information, the other day we were doing a little study for an airline in Europe. They said we have 2.5 million passengers who travel by business class between Central Europe and UK. And we're finding that they're very unhappy with our service. How do we know that they're unhappy with service? So we have feedback forms. We look at the data feedback forms. It's a feedback form that says write this, write that, and you post it somewhere. So that's one way of collecting information. But there is also a way of collecting information through likes, Facebook likes, Twitter, and smileys all over the place, a red face, all of that stuff. So they've gathered all that information. They've collected it in various forms. Now they want to say, now if the flight between Stockholm and London is delayed by 5 hours, I know passenger A likes to spend time in a spa. And he likes to have coffee in a particular flavor. So when we find that, the frequent flyer like me, with a business class frequent flyer card, to keep him happy and to make sure that he retains himself and we retain him as a customer, we kind of we find this pattern of behavior in a situation where the flight is going to delay, let's say, by the time he lands in London, or by the time he lands in Stockholm for a connecting flight, I'm going to make sure that he gets these tactics when he lands there. Here's your free ticket to go to the spa. Once you finish the spa, go have a coffee here. You're a happy guy, a happy chappy, gets on another plane and goes back to the UK. Those things are not happening so easily in those things. The way the data flowed from where you are to where you will be and where you can be, and how seamlessly getting connected. That's the paradigm change that's happening. And analytics is playing a massive role in making that happen because you're trying to see how patterns of behavior is happening in those places. And how do I look at the patterns of behavior and interpret that as customer response to your services, and therefore how do I make my services in a manner that he continues to be happy, to continues to be a big pattern of my services. All of the things are happening in a manner that is generating a phenomenal amount of it's because phenomenal amount of data is flowing in all these pieces. Right? And again, we look at it. Another way of looking at it is look at the way people book tickets for movies. I like to book this ticket in that seat there next to my boyfriend or girlfriend, whichever you guys, and I want to buy popcorn. I mean, it's a behavior of that crowd. Like, how do I know that? So it's exhibiting certain behavioral patterns. So you capture the behavioral patterns and turn that into an opportunity to sell more services, cross-sell, upsell various services, and therefore make them happy. They can come back to the theater again and again, give them a little coffee, all that stuff, give them more popcorn. That's the kind of thing that's happening there. It's no longer the paradigm that says, we define A, B, C, D, and then put them together. What needs to happen for that? The first thing that needs to happen for that. There is, if you look at it, a BAU of business as the usual way of working. And then there has to be a change that needs to happen. And then once you change, you either innovate, you disrupt or innovate. Innovate or disrupt, disrupt or innovate. And what are the three things that you need to disrupt or innovate? Process, people, environment, technology, whichever you look at. So confluence, all of that is where you will see a lot of business paradigms changing nowadays, and it is changing. And that's as we say, there's a confluence where the business problems are beginning to get addressed by specific technical capabilities to solve those problems. So that's where we are today, and I think we are in the stage where thinking is changing completely, and that's why the confluence of education, experience, and engagement is the paradigm that's going to be there. So that's the perspective I wanted to give, in the sense that once you get into the industry, you'll find that hitting you immediately as soon as you get out into the industry. That's the way you're engaging is completely different. For example, when I drive back from the ECR, the toll booth that you might take it, does he know where I went, how did they go, how fast I drove? Probably not today, but I'm sure at some point in time you have some amount of information that's going to be available to them, because I've generated enough data about myself. I've generated enough data about myself. I've generated enough data about the car I came by. I've generated enough data about the process of buying the ticket at the toll booth. I've generated enough data about the organization that created the ticket to me with the toll ticket, basically. So all that is happening. It's all coming together and it's exploding in a manner that's unprecedented. That's where we are today. So that's why I think the coastline valley is going to be really it's going to be transformational. It's going to be disruptive in its own way. It's going to be innovative in its own way. So I don't think there will be new kids in the block in that sense. There will be new babies in the block. So it's going to be phenomenal. And I look at it. For me to change from an IT thinking to business thinking is dictated that it changed the way I think. And once you start changing the way you think, you tend to disrupt the way you do normal things in life. When you start disrupting the doing the normal things in life, you start incorporating innovation. When you start incorporating innovation, it's going to be people-wise, it's going to be process-wise, it's going to be environment-wise, it's going to be technology-wise, it's going to be organization-wise, etc. All of them, again, there's a confluence happening in the context of, again, experience, education, and engagement. So that's the perspective I wanted to give. I'm sure Dr. Balanchandran, Dr. Ryan all gave you a view which is definitely elevated in every sense of the word. And this is what I added a little more flavor to it, I guess, in what I think is happening in my context. So consulting and technology is no longer two different things nowadays. It's a confluence again. It's again a confluence. Again, as you go back to the experience, education, that's the paradigm which is happening today. And I'm sure the content of Davi is going to be really conducive to make you ready for this new paradigm. I'm sure you're already ready, but we can give that sense. So that's the perspective I want to give, and thanks again for having me here. And hopefully, I give a slightly more different perspective to how things are happening in my view. Because it is again at the stage where disruption is happening. Once the disruption happens, it's open to all kinds of innovation. Future of work, as we talked about in Cognizant, go to the as we talked about in Cognizant, they're all extremely innovative, disruptive, and innovative in its own sense. And And therefore, the leadership, the thought leadership that's going into those processes is going to redefine the way you're going to engage businesses in the way they want us to engage them, and they want them to engage us. Because it's no longer it's no longer a chain of command that comes to us. It's a confluence of ideas and collaboration and all that stuff. So that's the perspective I wanted to give you. And I'm sure when you do this course, you will probably, hopefully, reflect on this and please feel free to exchange ideas among yourselves. I'm there to act with whatever necessary. Thanks for having me.